The technology is changing every minute of every day. And I used to tell myself that there were two types of people in the technology industry. There were the people who wrote the software, and there was everybody else. And I was with everybody else. And so if I just outworked them and outlearned them and dug into whatever that technology was, I could exceed it, and outperform all the everybody else's. My dad did upholstery on cars. My mom did odd jobs. And my dad was always, if you want something, you got to earn it, because I'm not just going to buy it for you. And with that in mind, it was like, okay, how can I make some money for the things I wanted? And so once I tried a couple things and had just a little bit of success, or I guess not enough failure to dissuade me, it just kept on getting easier and easier, whether it was packaging baseball cards when I was a little kid and selling them down in the park, or selling garbage bags door to door. And literally, all right, come on. If I walked up as a 12-year-old, and you learn to sell, it's like, hi, my name is Mark Cuban. Do you use garbage bags? Well, how would you like to save time going to the store? Because I'll just show up with 100 garbage bags for $6. And whenever you're done, you just call me and I'll put it on the back of my wagon and I'll drag it down to you. And, and when people would say yes, that gave me confidence. And then it was just the next thing and the next thing. And then I learned that selling wasn't about convincing, it was about helping. And once I had that, and then from there, I learned that, helping as a salesperson really came down to understanding your customer's needs and putting yourself in the shoes of your customer. And that just made it easier, because, hey, if I'm just helping somebody and making their lives easier, or making their companies more competitive or productive or more profitable, who wouldn't want to do that? What's so hard about that? And so that kind of propelled me. I left Indiana University and I had a Fiat X19 with a hole in the floorboard that would just burn through oil, not a lot of money, and went down to see my friend Greg Shipper, who had at that point 4 roommates. So there were 5 of them in a 3-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, look, y'all are broke. I'll get a job. You need to split the rent one more way. So there's 6 of us in this little 3-bedroom, dump. And then I just remember, okay, now I got to get a job, because this car is not going to make it. And I got a job working as a bartender / barback at a club called Alon. And then I'm like, okay, this is not my, nothing wrong with bartending. I'd done it before, but this was not my future. And so I went through and interviewed for a lot of different jobs and got a job working for a company called Your Business Software. And I think they hired me, not because I had computer background, because I did not, but they hired me because, one, the guy liked my answer when he asked me, if you don't know the answer to a question, what are you going to do? And I'm going to say, I'm going to read the manual. I'm going to open up the manual and read until I find the answer for that piece of software. And then he goes, that's the perfect answer. I really like it. Then the second question was, is it okay if we don't tell the agency that sent you that we hired you, so that we don't have to pay the fee? And I'm like, okay, I got the job. So not proud of the second part, but you got to do what you got to do. I don't know that I've still figured it out, but you start realizing things that work, and things that, and I always try to follow that path of least resistance to get me to the next customer, and then you realize that there's a bunch of them there, and that your company is growing, and you're making some money, and then you learn that you don't have all the answers, but you have to try to keep on learning and innovating and be agile. And when you start doing these things, and really the agility and that reiteration and that continuous learning keeps on taking you to the next level, as you guys found out, right? Mm-hmm. Because e-commerce it's not like there weren't people there before, and it's not like it's easy, and rare is the business where you're not going to have any competition. Mm-hmm. And so you have to always, particularly in the technology industry, the technology is changing every minute of every day. And I used to tell myself that there were two types of people in the technology industry. There were the people who wrote the software, and there was everybody else. And I was with everybody else. And so if I just outworked them and outlearned them and dug into whatever that technology was, I could exceed it, and outperform all the everybody else's. And that really paid off for me, because it just had me just grinding a little harder, working a little longer, learning a little bit more, and not, being stagnant. And, you just keep on building that, and then boom, you put yourself in a position to sell your company. I just wanted to get to the next step, if you will, right?
Yeah.
That, I remember when I first started my first company, I got that company I told you got hired for the software company. I got fired after 9 months and started Micro Solutions. And I just remember thinking to myself, okay, I've been in business 1 month. I've been in business 2 months. I've got $15,000 in AR. I've got $50,000 in the bank. And, just for me, it was getting to the next month and just staying ahead and just, running as fast as I could, just trying to stay ahead. And that was really my focus then and now, because whether it's the Mavs or, AI, whatever it may be, there's a lot of smart people out there, and they're not waiting on me to catch up to them. Absolutely. I mean, it's like the streaming industry. When we were doing our projections in 1995 and people were laughing at me, what do you mean streaming, or internet broadcasting? What the hell is that? I'll just turn on my TV or radio.
Yeah.
People just thought it was crazy. And it's the same with e-commerce. We thought, broadband would take over in 10 years, and it took 20 plus years. E-commerce the same way. I mean, it evolves, but it, back in the early days, it was like, I don't trust Amazon with my credit card. I don't trust eBay with my credit card. And it was all about, credit card trust that you couldn't trust. And now it's more, okay, what's the path of least resistance? And you just get some people that are caught up in doing it the way they've always done. And those people are slow transitioners. And those are the ones that just take time. But like you guys are doing, you're always adding features. You're always making it simpler to buy. You're reducing the friction points. And as long as we as vendors do that, or merchants do that, then we're going to continue to gain market share, and the total addressable market is just only going to grow. Do you include entertainment and total retail sales, things that are outdoors, right, out of home? So I think for purchases per se, so things that we need on a daily basis, I think absolutely we'll get, consumables, absolutely we'll get there. I think it's always going to be hard just because, from digital items that aren't purchased on traditional e-commerce, particularly as we get into cryptocurrencies and blockchain and smart contracts and all those things. I think that's a measurement issue more than a fulfillment issue. But I think we will get way past 50%, and the things that are buyable on e-commerce will be bought on e-commerce. I think it's happening, as to your point, RA, as we speak. AI is hard. 4 or 5 years ago when we talked about AI, I think it seemed simpler. Machine learning seemed simpler. Just a needle in a haystack type thing, right? Just find something you otherwise wouldn't find. But now, if you look, by market cap, the biggest companies are the companies that are the best at AI. The Googles and the Facebooks, and those are your partners and your competitors at various levels. And so being great at that is going to have a significant impact. How do you price? And so there's a company I invested in, Price Stack, and all they do is try to use AI and machine learning in particular to optimize pricing, because we always try to guess what our customers will or won't like, and we're always reactive when we see a sale. Oh, that was great. We should, our margin, we more than made up for that price cut with margin dollars. And then the other side happens as well. Oh, we shouldn't have cut that price, right? It didn't increase sales. And so using machine learning in particular with Price Stack is, how do we integrate all that so that using historical data, it can influence or support us in how we price.